In 1994, a film was released that nobody really cared about. It didn't dominate the box office, it didn't win big at the Oscars, and most people didn't even go to see it. Today though, it's considered one of the greatest movies ever made. So how does a film go from failure to legend? This is the story of the Shawshank Redemption and why, over 30 years later, it might be more important than ever. Pop pop! When the Shawshank first released, it struggled and struggled big. It was made on a budget of $25 million and made back just shy of $30 million, which isn't terrible. It's not technically making money, but it's not amazing. Audiences didn't rush to see it, critics respected it but didn't explode for it, and it quietly faded. But over time something really strange happened. People just kept on watching it, re-watching it, sharing it around. In 1995 it was the most rented VHS tape on the market. For those of you who don't know what VHS is, it was basically what Netflix, you go on Netflix and you see like a film there. Back in the 90s you'd have to go get like a little, kind of like a book. They had the film on and you'd put that into your little VCR player and that would be how you'd watch films. And if you wanted to re-watch it, you had to like wind it back, and the Netflix has kind of made that dead. But eventually, through the power of this kind of endurance, it became immortal. So today we are looking at 5 potential reasons why commercially Shawshank flopped, but why 30 years later it is still worth your time. Let's get into it. So the first reason for potential Shawshank flopping is that it had quite a weak and forgettable title. The Shawshank Redemption. It doesn't tell you really what the film's about, does it? It doesn't sound very exciting, it's not all that easy to remember, kind of a bit of a mouthful if you're trying to pass on communication, saying you're back in 1994 and you're there talking to your chums and you're like, oh yeah, I went to the cinema to see this great film called The Shawshank Redemption. Doesn't quite roll off the tongue like Pulp Fiction or Forrest Gump. At the time though, the audiences didn't know what the film was. Was it a religious film, a prison film, a drama? Compared to the punchy titles in 1994, it got very lost. It was further not helped that the book it was based on had a very different title. The book's called Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. It's totally worth your time, by the way. I've listened to it on Audible and actually read the physical book, and it's very good. Do recommend. However, it got changed due to agents thinking it was a Rita Hayworth biopic, and that word might have got around, so people might have thought it was just about Rita Hayworth, and people in the 90s probably didn't care all that much about Rita Hayworth. Reason number 2 is the competition it faced was very fierce. 1994, for me, is the most stacked year in movie history. You had Forrest Gump, Pulp Fiction, The Lion King, and those are like the 3 big ones, but there are many more, including Speed, The Mask, 4 Weddings and a Funeral. There's probably many more that I'm not remembering, but those are like the big ones. Shawshank, against all of those, didn't really stand a chance at the box office. It wasn't louder, it wasn't flashier, it wasn't event cinema, and due to this it kind of just fell short of all the expectations. The next reason is that it's a slower and dialogue heavy film. Unlike, say, Speed from that time or Pulp Fiction, there are no explosions, there's no fast pacing, there's no obvious spectacle with it, is there? It's just kind of conversations. There's deep characters, very interesting characters, some quiet moments of reflection, and for the casual audiences it didn't really feel like a must-see. Reason number 4 is that at the time, prison films just weren't popular. In particular, prison dramas just didn't draw all that well at the box office. The setting of a prison drama feels heavy, depressing and restrictive, and it's not exactly what people wanted for a fun night out, is it? And the reason number 5 is that the marketing didn't really sell the emotion in the film. The film's biggest strength is how it makes you feel, but the marketing focused on the prison, the plot and the drama instead of the hope, the friendship and the freedom that spawned from it, so people didn't really realise what they were missing. However, as I mentioned a couple of times, over 30 years later, I at least feel it's still worth your time, and some reasons why. The first one is that it is about hope, even in environments where there is no hope. Hope is a very dangerous thing, is what Red says, and in a place designed to break people, Andy refuses to let go of it. He harnesses it because he believes it is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. And that belief spreads around the rest of the prison and the inmates. The message you can take here is no matter how trapped you feel, you still have control over your mind and the actions you choose to take. No matter how bad your environment may be, if you can hold on to even the smallest glimmer of hope and the light at the end of the tunnel, you can keep going. Reason number 2 is that it shows the power of patience, which is especially important in today's world. Andy doesn't escape in a single moment. It takes years of discipline and consistency. The endless nights of tunnelling away in his wall and then taking those chunks down to the courtyard each day. It's important to remember that real change, true important changes, don't happen overnight. It's built slowly, quietly and relentlessly. Reason number 3 is that it explores institutionalization. Some people become so used to their cage they're afraid of being free and fully expressing themselves. Comfort can become a prison, and breaking out of it is one of the hardest things you'll ever do, even if you can. But if you can do it, it really will be worth it. Your life will be so much better, you'll feel more alive, and generally just be happier. We just look at the stark contrast between how Brooks takes getting out, and he's not been around Andy all that much, and then look how Red does, he was arguing Andy's bestest friend in the whole wide world. That is the difference of being able to escape the cage that institutionalization can put you in, and that is the importance of holding on to freedom, and more importantly, onto hope. Speaking of the connections we just mentioned, that's reason number 4. It's about meaningful connection. Andy and Red's friendship is very simple, but very, very powerful. There's no ego, there's no pretending, just trust over time. They bond over their shared struggles, but Red really grows because of Andy's mental strength and his application of his mind to surviving prison life. Real relationships aren't very loud. They're not flashy, you don't have to go around telling everyone, oh yeah, so-and-so's my best friend. A real friendship, they're built slowly and genuinely, usually over a period of time. But everyone knows your friends, they'll know you as well as you know yourself, and vice versa, hopefully. But you don't need to go around bragging about how good friends are, you're just good friends. And then reason number 5, and the final one for today's video, is that freedom isn't earned. Freedom is earned, it is not given. You earn your freedom, basically. The final moment of Andy's work, him standing in the rain, shirt off, smelling and feeling free for the first time in over 20 years, isn't luck. There's a bit of luck involved. It's the result of years of effort, all those nights of him tunnelling, hauling out the tunnel into the yard, surviving the beatings, the corruption and everything else the prison tries to throw at him, all became worth it in that one singular moment. The life you want is on the other side of patience, resilience, and most importantly, belief. To quote a different film, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, a man shouldn't believe in isms, he should believe in yourself. And if you can believe in yourself, you really can do anything. Obviously there'll be little bits of luck involved, mostly to do with timing of things, as opposed to be handed opportunities, but most of that effort has to come from you inside. So Shawshank didn't fail because it was bad. It is the furthest thing from a bad film, Shawshank. It failed because it wasn't quite what people expected, really. It didn't shout, it didn't demand attention, it just waited. And over time people realised what it really was, which is a masterpiece. In my opinion, the best film ever made. The Shawshank Redemption is more than just a film though. It is a reminder that no matter how stuck you feel, no matter how long it takes, you can still dig your way out. Metaphorically, I'm assuming. So keep on going. Remember, get busy living, or get busy dying. And there you have it, there is our look at why Shawshank failed, and why over 30 years later, it is still absolutely worth your time. So, what do you think? What message did you take away from Shawshank? Be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button if you are new around here. That's all for now, so I'd like to thank you for watching, and we'll see you later. Pop pop!